Hey, everybody, Hop Sauce checking in with y'all. Hope you're doing well today, staying warm in the winter conditions and all that kind of stuff. So, I did some studying today, and I just have to share with you what I found. I got some notes here, pretty solid notes. I'm going to show you a clip. We're moving forward. It's progressing this conversation in terms of the CFTC regulating digital currencies, not just XRP. But digital currencies, hey, I got some hearts coming out. That's funny. So the question is, if XRP becomes a digital commodity, does everything change? Okay, or does it just stay the same, and we keep just trading, buying and selling the same way we have been as investors this whole time? So a lot of excitement around the Clarity Act, CFTC involvement. The regulatory definitions. Today, we're going to break it down the way that these institutions are starting to look at things. Okay, so what we're going to do, let's define these terms because I've had some questions about this. So number one, okay, in U.S. markets, securities are overseen by the SEC, Security Exchange Commissions. Commodities are overseen by the CFTC. And it's been that way for years. The SEC... I don't want to. I got to fact check when they were created, but I know that the CFTC wasn't created till I believe 1970. That came later. I'll fact check that. Maybe it was. I got to look at that. Bitcoin's widely treated as a commodity right now. Ethereum is generally viewed that way as well. Okay, it brought up the word generally, which I was like, what's that mean? So. If XRP were clearly classified as a digital commodity, oversight would shift into a different regulatory framework. Commodity status doesn't create demand, it reduces ambiguity. Now, to understand how these regulators are thinking about the digital commodities deal in the market structure, listen to this recent discussion right here. I'm going to try to keep it short. Let's take a look, see what they're saying.
Companies should be allowed to offer customers rewards, money on stablecoins held on crypto platforms. Joining me now is the chairman of the CFTC, Michael Seelig. Mr. Chairman, great to have you.
Glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And let's start at the beginning in terms of how you are delineating the difference between a security and a commodity. Because in this market structure bill, you're intending to classify tokens as securities versus commodities so that we have clear jurisdiction. Walk us through it.
That's right. For too long, we've had the Gary Genslers of the world regulating by enforcement, claiming that every digital asset is a security. And Chairman Paul Atkins and I really disagree with that view. We believe that most crypto assets in the markets today are commodities. These are digital assets that maybe were issued as part of a securities transaction, but they trade a lot like oil, gas, and other commodities in our markets. And the information that is prevalent to and important to trading these assets comes from the markets at large. It's not coming from a single source of information, as you see with the capital markets with an issuer. And so we need to build markets that allow for these assets to trade with clear rules of the road, and we can't regulate by enforcement anymore.
What was your takeaway from the meeting at the White House yesterday and this sticking point in terms of banks versus crypto platforms and paying rewards?
Well, I understand that it was a very productive meeting at the White House, and the president's leadership is really critical in getting this legislation across the line. He's been a real advocate of the crypto industry, and I know that we've got a large swath of incumbents that are concerned that some of the legislation could encroach on their lanes, but really
over in
commodities,
this area,
et cetera.
right
but some of these non-traditional markets.
The CFTC is a unique regulator. So we've had the Securities and Exchange Commission since the 30s. It's regulated capital markets. The CFTC is a newer regulator. It came about in the 70s. And ever since its origin, it has been a regulator that's regulated everything from pork bellies to credit default swaps and now crypto and prediction markets. And it's not afraid of these new markets. It regulates through principles-based rules and regulations, unlike some of the more prescriptive regulators where they have set standards. We allow for innovation. We're more flexible flexible, and this is the perfect regulatory framework for new markets as they emerge.
What are you expecting in terms of the appellate results on the Kalshi-related cases?
Well, we're expecting to defend the CFTC's authority in these actions. The CFTC's authority over prediction markets is very well settled. The definition of commodity includes just about everything except for onions and motion picture box office receipts. So we have very broad authority there, and we have.
That is the key. So regulators are discussing the structure framework in the oversight. That's the main thing that they're trying to dial in right here. So that's what institutions need, not the hype, not headlines, not unstructured kind of thing. So if XRP becomes clearly categorized as a digital commodity, people, what actually changes? Okay, number one, it reduces that de-risking, the delisting risk that we see a lot of cryptos. They get on exchanges, then they get delisted. That wouldn't happen. Clear compliance pathways, lower legal uncertainty, expansion of derivative markets, okay? Exchanges don't like gray areas. It's very easy to go see that. Commodity clarity removes the gray area, okay? So now, would Coinbase, Kraken, and institutional platforms treat XRP differently with formal clarity? That's a question that I got to throw out there. Put it in the comments below if you have a comment on that. But does it make them, it's a whole thing to where when you go from the minor leagues and you get drafted to the big leagues, do your friends and family or your ex-teammates look at you differently, kind of a vibe? So let that sink in, and you tell me what you think. So what changes for institutions is a big question too. So now, they don't care. Institutions don't chase things that are talking about in social media and stuff like that. They evaluate the risk. Okay? Now, what they do care about is this regulatory exposure, custody clarity, accounting treatment, and then the enforcement precedent. So institutions don't fear volatility, they fear the uncertainty. Hey, you know what, people? Just look at the spread on some of these positions. Institutions make bank on volatility. They like the volatility, and they're able to spread out that bid and ask, buying and selling points. That's how they make their money. So it doesn't matter, the volatility at least. If classification becomes clear, risk committees gain comfort. Structured products become viable. Capital allocation models adjust. Now, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. Okay, and I was thinking about this stuff myself as I was doing my research. XRP, if XRP is clearly a commodity, the ETF proposals become structurally cleaner. See that? The future markets expand, and then institutional wrappers become possible, because the institutions, they have to put in that application for their products to be in an ETF, and everybody wants to get involved with crypto. It's just, it's the new shiny object. Everybody's trying to jump in here. So now, but remember though, I wrote this down here. Commodity status doesn't guarantee the ETF approval. It's quite the process for these exchanges to put in the application. There's a lot to it. But it does start to create that pathway that we're kind of looking for as a retail investor. So now, where it gets interesting. It gets interesting right here. If XRP is clearly a commodity, the ETF proposals become structurally cleaner. Future markets expand. Institutional wrappers become possible. And those are the main things that this whole discussion is talking about here. So, commodity status doesn't guarantee the ETF approvals, right? That's what we were talking about. It gives that pathway to potential. Now, this is where you build trust. Okay, now let's calm down a little bit here. I get all excited. That's my bad. I get all crazy on it. Even if XRP becomes a commodity, supply doesn't change overnight. Ripple's holdings don't disappear. That's a big topic. What are we going to do about this? Market demand still drives price, and the macro liquidity still matters. So remember, in this bill, Ripple can't own more than 20% of the total supply. And currently, they're like, it's debatable. They're around 39% to 45% as far as the XRT tokens in escrow. Remember that? That's the part where I got to sit here and go, what are they going to do about this? So if XRP qualifies under the digital commodity standards, those definitions become critical. Okay, that's kind of what we've been stuck on. The real debate, and this is kind of a debate here, I want to throw, and I'm kind of trying to encourage comments. I'm curious on what all you think about this thing. Is it a label or is it control? Those are the two things. Like, are we just putting a label on XRP, or are we trying to control it from an institutional place? In like, so there's no decentralized discussions anymore. And is XRP decentralized right now as we speak? That's what I'm kind of throwing out there. So let me know in the comments. It's a shift. Okay. Here's the bigger picture that I was coming at you with here. ETF inflows are rising overall in the crypto community, cryptocurrency asset class. We're seeing that. The regulatory advisory roles are forming. Commodity definitions are being debated, as we know. So capital and clarity are beginning to align. It's exciting stuff, people, if you start looking at this. So, and you go back historically, this is when, equity or let's just say asset markets structurally evolve. There's evolution to this game. I mean, the wild, wild west, people, if you were around back in 2013, 14, hey, you're a stud. Like I said before, I didn't even know what Bitcoin was until my son, he was like, 15 years old. In 2017 or something, he goes, hey, Dad, I bought some Bitcoin. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a computer guy, dude. What are you talking about? And so that's where this conversation started for me. And I would pick his ear. He made money, and he ended up buying a dirt bike. It was crazy. It was crazy talk. But then now he kind of doesn't like crypto. There's a long story to it. I won't go into it. But he's a savvy investor. He's a really good, he day trades. He's a stud. A lot more to be said about that. So does everything change if XRP does become regulated under CFTC? Okay. Nothing happens overnight, ladies and gentlemen. That's one thing I've learned as a mature adult in different investment models and trading platforms. Things mature as it goes. But so clarity shifts capital allocation, and capital allocations ultimately derives what the markets are going to do. That's that market cap thing. That's when the bigger money comes in and we start seeing movement. So, the real story, as I sit here and start thinking about it, it's not that commodity status or anything. It's what this clarity bill is going to unlock for all cryptocurrency. Now, I just wanted to share that with you there, people. That's the final word on that thing. I just, there's some uncertainty in here. And just technically speaking, I'm telling you right now, people, I know the markets are moving down. We've seen this downward trend, and I keep doing some posts on technical analysis. And there's a little bit of hopium in there that the market's going to turn around. But I want to show you, we'll leave with this. Okay, here's the XRP chart. This is, you can't see it behind me here, but July. This is from the summer. Look at this thing. You can't tell me. Don't live on hopium, people. This is a bear market. that has just been dropping down. And you can see the lines I've got on here. We've broken through multiple different support levels. Let me zoom out, or actually zoom in to show you a little bit closer here. Okay. This is what I'm looking at. You know, we had that flag pattern right in here. Here's the pole with the flag dangling off. Now, this is generally looked at as a bullish market. Look what happened. We had a percentage climb. It did come up from, you know, once it broke out from here. Look, I will go up to that top of that wick. To here. See, people, look at this opportunity. If you're a swing trader, you could have just made 20%. I should have jumped on this. I'm actually sitting here smacking myself in the face because I saw this flag pattern. I talked about it the other day. You could have come up 20% to recover some of the losses that when you've been, you know, from a downward market. Pretty crazy talk right here, man. This is what scares me. We shot way up here. You wouldn't have grabbed the top. Let's be realistic. You wouldn't have been able to get the top of that wick. It would have been somewhere in here. 15% could have been a nice little run up if you're wanting to swing trade it. Look at what we're doing though. We're retesting. That's confirmation of a support level. Now that's today. This wick is right here today. All I'm going to say, people, I'll leave it with this. Keep an eye on this support level at this 143 that we've had on here forever. We got to really pay attention. If it bounces off or if it comes down, we will get back down to the next level at the $1.12. I've been talking to some people in the crypto community that are very savvy, and I do have to say that some of them think we're going below $1. Okay, take that information what you want. Hop Sauce is speculating. I don't know. I'm just saying, to each their own. Just hang in there. Buckle up. What I have learned in my life, don't sell anything at a loss. You got into this game because you know it was risky and you knew it was volatile. If you bought above this level, do not sell your tokens at a loss. Because of two things. Number one, you lose money. Number two, it helps the bear market continue downward. Okay, and I know everybody has their own goal and their own status. We want XRP to go to $10. Some people are on YouTube, don't listen when they talk about $100 in this next run. Just be quiet. Don't listen to that. My prediction on this next run was $5 to $10. It was right around when we were hitting that 352 high. If we could break the all-time high, my prediction is we're gonna get up to 5 to 10. And that's where I'm going to exit some of my initial investments on this particular project. I'm not selling. Just don't sell at a loss. And you don't lose money. That's my thought for today, everybody. Thank you for checking in like always. Hang in there. I think we're gonna have an interesting week. We're going to play it one day at a time. Stay focused and try to spend some time releasing the mind from the volatility of this crypto space. Do something fun out there. We're getting a dump, dude. Tons of snow coming. I'm going snowboard. Let's go. All right. Peace out, everybody. Peace out.